One second, Hello, hello. Testing, 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 testing. Are we live? Are we live? Hold on. Let's get to the UV tubes. The UV tubes. Let's see how we're doing here. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's check on the YouTube. All right. Here we go. Actually, let me take a look over here. Take a look over here. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's see. Let's watch over here. Give me 1 second. 1 second, 1 second. All right, all right. Hold on 1 sec. Let's make sure we're live on X. Let's make sure we are live on the X. All right. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Let's make sure we're live on the X. All right. Let's make sure we're live on the YouTubes. YouTubes. All right. There we are. There we are. Perfect. Audio's working. All right. All right. All right. All right. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Getting ourselves all set up here, but happy Friday, everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday. Hope you guys had a wonderful Saturday. I mean, excuse me, wonderful Thursday. Hope you guys had a wonderful Thursday. I know I did. I had a wonderful Thursday. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I had some of the greatest stuff yesterday. All right, so Coach and I we went to go get some groceries yesterday. Right now we got some delicious steaks, nice ribeye, a lot of them. So I'm looking forward to that tonight, man. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to those. You know, but we had some skirt steak last night, right? And it was made and seasoned so well. It was so good. It was so good with some mashed potatoes, a little bit of corn. Bobo Beeves, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Howdy, Bobo. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Always good. Always good to see you, man. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hold on 1 second. Let me actually move this a little bit over here. All right. And move this a little bit over here and kind of make this a bit narrower. There we go. There we go. Right there. Beautiful. Perfect. All right. There we are. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. All right. We're live on the X. All right. Yes, perfect. We're live on the X. We're live on Twitch. Let's make sure we're live on the Twitch. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Beautiful. Looking good. Looking good. Okay. Let's see here. Marty, good morning. Good morning, Marty. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's make sure everything's good. Let's get all the announcements out and ready to go. But yeah, man, I had some wonderful skirt steak. Me, Coach, DBO Moms, Mama Money, all had some wonderful, beautiful skirt steaks last night. I tell you what, they were cooked to perfection. I tell you what, also I've been hearing as of late. While I'm just getting everything set up, I've been hearing as of late that there's a truck that sells ribs. So I'm looking forward to seeing about that too. So one of these days, and apparently it's like a talk of the town type of deal. You know what I mean? So they sell all sorts of good stuff. But like, it's a talk of the town. They got ribs, and they're like amazingly seasoned. So I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward to it. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Let's make sure let's make sure to send it out here. Bop, right there. All right. Let's make sure that there's no glitches. Perfect. All right. There we go. All right. Let's check in over here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to them ribeyes. All right. You know how you make your ribeye? You make it like the way we make it. We, obviously butter in there, melt it nice. Cook up the steak a little bit, sear it on the outside, medium well to like medium on the inside. Sometimes people like it medium rare. Some people like it medium rare. I like it medium. All right, but most of the time, if you go to a little restaurant or something, you say medium well, because the way restaurants do it, when you ask for medium, they make it medium rare. You ask for medium rare, it ends up kind of being a bit more rare than medium, and then if you ask for like medium well, it turns out to be medium. If you ask for well done, you get medium well, etc., etc. If you ask for burnt, they give you well. You know what I mean? So it be like that sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. So I just ask for medium well, and they give me medium, and it's like perfect. All right, good. That's it. That's the way it goes, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Whew. Yeah. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. I'm just getting all the notifications out. All the notifications. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're seeing, you want to see more, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. Remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, just getting everything all set up over here, getting all the announcements out. And once we do that, we'll be all good and ready to go. All right. Beautiful. There we go. I'll post this. You know what I could go for, ladies and gentlemen, one of these days? I'm like a very avid seltzer drinker. You know what I mean? I like me some seltzer. You know what I mean? So when I get seltzer, I like the flavored ones, like the raspberry one. Those are refreshing. Other thing I could go for is like, ever heard of those Japanese marble sodas? Those things are so good. Bless you, Coach. All right. Yes, bless you. All right. So, hold on 1 second. Ever heard of those Japanese marble sodas, though, ladies and gentlemen? Those things are fire. Those things are fire, man. Refreshing as heck. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. All right. So we got everything all shared up and set up and ready to go. Okay, good. All right, let's get this intro started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nicks, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nicks in the house, a.k.a. the Rainmaker. And I'm here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she gets shot at the cannon and she goes, whee! Other times she likes to go to RBs and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Sometimes she'll get herself some Mickey D's. Other times she'll get herself some Wendy's. Other times she'll get herself some Burger King. And other times she'll call some wonderful stonks that go and do some ABCDs. She did, after all, call some great stocks like CCHH, WHLR, and RDIB. We call her DBL Moms. All right, so that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. So Before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. So, yeah, link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments. Be sure to check it out. Over here, we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, getting all these things over here. Bot right there. Bot right there. And looking schmexy. Looking schmexy so far. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started with CCHH. CCHH ran up a nice 82%. So we're going to put that up there. CCHH ran up 82% right there. So that's what they got going on right there. CCHH, let's take a look at it over here. CCHH looks to be forming, well, sort of a bit of a cup and handle, possibly, maybe. So we'll see what happens here. We got a bit of a cup and a handle slightly, but then it went back down a little bit. So can it complete the cup and handle? We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. But as of now, that's what we got going on right there. So CCHH broke above the VWAP. Maybe possible cup and handle pattern forming. Maybe. We'll see what happens. CCHH broke above the cup and the VWAP. Possible cup and handle forming. We'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. Legal. Good morning, Legal. He says, good morning. Can you please check WHLR? WHLR? Sure, certainly. WHLR. Let's take a look at WHLR. Okay, beautiful. All right, so WHLR looking pretty schmexy to me. Looking pretty schmexy. So as of now, hold on. Let me get this out of here from now so I can get it out of my way here. Beautiful. Okay, so as of now, WHLR does have some news. Well, no, actually, it doesn't have news per se. It's basically moved up, made a little bit of a tiny ABCD, went back down over here in the descending wedge, right? Curled its way back up slightly, and then formed yet another descending wedge, falling just below the VWAP. Once again, needs to break that descending wedge and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Let me just put that in. WHLR. WHLR needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So it needs to break that right there. Let's see if it's got any. Let's see what the float and volume is. The float is 676.9 thousand. Volume is 18.8 million. So we got that going on right there. So the volume is a lot higher than the float. That's excellent news. It is up 36% and change. Let's see about whether or not there is any news for this stock. Okay, so WHLR has news. WHLR has news that they got a Form 8, Form 434B3 as well. All right. That's what they got going on right there. Let's see here. But let's see if there's anything inside of this little form here. Let's see if there is. Boom. Let's see. Does it have anything interesting? Nothing really. Nothing really. Just a bunch of documentation. Okay. Right there. We'll see what goes on. Let's take a look at the chart over here. So yeah, it just needs to break this descending wedge. Needs to break the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we need to go on here. XXRP. Let's see how XXRP is doing. XXRP is on a slight uptrend, slightly slight little uptrend just above the VWAP right now, but 9 EMA is diverging away from the VWAP. It is moving away from the VWAP. It is a bit consolidated and kind of just moving its way on up a little bit. So we got that going on as well. That's what we got going on. There was a bit of a gap over here in this area, right over here. All right, so there was a bit of a gap there. All right, and it does look like it's moving on a bit of low volume here, up 38%. So we'll see what goes on there. Float is unknown, but the volume is 1.2 million and change. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Is there any news for XXRP? I don't see anything as of now. So let's take a look over here. As of now, XXRP is on a slight uptrend, a bit of a choppy uptrend. Looks like it needs some volume. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens there. Give me 1 second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. All right, so as of now, let's take a look over here. XXRP on a slight uptrend, but it looks like it's on an uptrend on low volume. So XXRP moving up on low volume. Can it continue to remain friends with the trend? All right, we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. All right. RDIB. Let's see about RDIB. All right, RDIB has quite a few little bits and pieces of just choppiness over here. Indecisive wicks. A lot going on there. So, as of now, looks like it just about curled above the VWAP. Just about curled above it and then went back down a little bit. So now it looks like it's forming a tiny little pennant right there, little tiny pennant right there. So we'll see what goes on there. We shall see what goes on. RDIB needs to break the VWAPA and the pennant for it to be so much mexy to mia. There we go. XRPT. Let's see how XRPT is holding up. XRPT also a bit choppy over here. If you take a look, bop right there. You got a little bit of choppiness over here. All right, a little bit of choppiness over here. A little bit of choppiness over here. I mean, there's choppiness all over the place. And then some choppiness over Mia right there. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right, but it has been moving up slightly. Again, this looks like it's moving up on some low volume. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. All right, let's take a look over here. Float is unknown. Thank you. All right, but the volume is 2.4 million. All right. Sorry about that. Needed some water. So, float is unknown. Volume is 2.4 million and change. So we got that going on right there. Let's see about the news. News is no real news. So XRPT again looks like it's moving up on some low volume as well. XRPT moving up slightly on low volume. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right, let's see what other stocks we got here. All right, how's WHLR holding up? WHLR. All right, WHLR looks like it's trying to curl off the descending wedge a little bit, but needs to break that VWAP right there. WHLR looks like it's trying to curl off the VWAPA, curl off the descending wedge, descending wedge, and break above the VWAPA. All right, there we go. Looks like it's trying to, but now it's pulling back into the wedge. So, we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at CCHH again one more time for a little bit before we decide to look at some other stuff right here. Let's see here. Come on now. All right. CCHH. Looks like it formed more of a pennant than it did a cup and handle. So let's get this over here. Bop right there. Bop right there. All right. All right. Bop. So as of now, needs to break this pennant right here. CCHH is above the VWAP, but needs to break the pennant over here. So CCHH needs to break above the pennant for it to be so much maxi to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. All right. So it does have unconfirmed news that there might be some Q3 earnings coming out in 11 days from now on February 13th. Or excuse me, February 17th before the market opens. Top Success says good morning. Good morning, man. WOK. Sure, certainly. Let's take a look at WOK. Walk. All right, now WOK. All right, now WOK looks a bit choppy over here. I'm going to show you why right here. Okay, so you got a couple of choppy little wicks over here. All right, choppy over here. Couple of choppy wicks right around here. Actually, hold on. I go so far. Right, there's a couple of them over here. All right, and then there's some right around this area as well, and then a couple more right over here. So there are choppy little wicks here, and it is below the VWAP right now, so you got that going on as well too. So let's take a look over here. Let's take a look. All right, so as of now, has a bit of a pennant formed right over here. All right, a lot of choppy wicks, which tells me it might be low on volume. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 8.3, call it 8.4 thousand. Volume is actually higher than that. It's at 2.4 million, which is actually strange to me because normally indecisive wicks signify that there's low volume. So there is volume here, but it might need some more volume for it to really curl up and break above that VWAP. But other than that, it's looking okay. Needs to break that VWAP, though, and needs to break above that pennant. It is up 10% as of now. Let's take a look and see if there's any news. Is there news of the stock? The last bit of news came out at January 5th of 2026, so there's no real news that came out here yet pertaining to the stock. Hold on, there we go. Ooh, let me get that stretching. Yes. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, as of now... Oh, that was not my... I put in WOK. WOK, yep, there we are. All right, WOK. Yeah, there wasn't much in terms of news for this stock, so we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. But this stock had some indecisive wicks. Needs a bit more volume for it to really curl up. It does have some volume going for it, so that's a good thing, but it does need to break above that VWAP and needs to break above that pennant right there. So WOK needs a bit more volume for it to be so much Mexi Tumya. WOK needs more volume to break the to break the VWAP and the pennant for it to be so much Mexi Tumya. There we go. There we go. All right. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. And of course, yeah, a little bit of Stewart action over here. Yeah, you thought I forgot, huh? All right. A little bit of Stewart action right over here. Get our boy. He's having fun. Whoa. He's sliding down the little slip and slide. Oh. Never mind. WOK just shot up like a rocket. Broke above both. Okay. Never mind. Stewie, man. That's the Stewie effect right there. Oh, wait, no, went back down. Went back down. Lot of choppiness there. A lot of choppiness. Okay, so needs a bit more volume there, in my opinion. WOK did try to just curl above both the VWAP and the pennant, and then pulled back quite a bit. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, as of now, WOK... Yeah, that's really what it needs to do right there. Let's take a look at some other stonks here. Let's take a look at some other stonks. All right. Somebody requested TSLA. TSLA, a bit expensive, truthfully. I'm gonna be honest with you. TSLA. Senjis, thank you for reposting the stream. Much love, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. What else do we have going on over here? All right, 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. All right. 1 sec. All right. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Let's see here. Let's see. There we go. All right, got the requests all up and stuff, all ready to go. All ready to go. All right. Let's take a look. All right. Let's see there. So, yeah, let's take a look at the TSLA stock over here. Night Row, good morning, man. Good morning. All right. He says RDIB, please. Sure, certainly. All right. So somebody requested TSLA. Let's take a look over here first. All right. TSLA, obviously very expensive stock. Not my cup of tea. Not something I really am interested in as of now. All right. But I will say it looks like a very oddly shaped cup and handle. Maybe I'm wrong. An inverted cup and handle. Inverted. Right. So you see over here, cup. Right. Bit of a handle over there. You see? Looks like an inverted cup and handle. Not looking too schmexy as of now. That's a bearish pattern right there. So TSLA as of now expensive. TSLA expensive stock with inverted cup and handle. Bear pattern. So not looking too schmexy there. Not looking too schmexy there. All right, let's take a look at RDIB for Night Rogue. RDIB. RDIB. All right, RDIB still needs to break that little descending wedge there and that VWAP. So we'll put that there. RDIB. RDIB needs to break that descending wedge and VWAP. All right, so still needs to do all that for it to be so much maxi to mya. Consistency says KXIN went up 5.17%. So KXIN, let's see. KXIN, all right, let's take a look over here. All right, KXIN, right off the bat, looking at it right now. All right, there's a lot of instances of chop right over here, right over here, right over here. A lot of it over here, and lots more over here. So very choppy, low volume as of now. Let's take a look at the float. All right, it is 5.17% up. I'll give it that. The float is 737.9 thousand. Volume is 48.6 thousand. So as of now, the volume is a lot weaker than the float. A lot weaker than the float. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens there. KXIN, KXIN. Filed the Form 6 earlier yesterday, but other than that, not much to say about the stock. Not much to write home about here. So, as of now, KXIN moving up a little bit on low volume. Needs more volume for it to be so much mexi to mya. KXIN slightly moving up on very low volume. Needs volume to break the choppy patterns for it to be so much mexi to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got? Oh, excuse me. There we go. All right. So let's see what else we got. MAXN. Somebody requested MAXN. MAXN. Let's take a look over here. MAXN. And not looking schmexy here. Slight uptrend over here. All right. And then after that, just needs to break a pennant right here. Needs to break a pennant right here. So MAXN needs to break the pennant and break above the VWAPA. There we go, right there. There we go. FLYE. Let's take a look at that stunk. FLYE, lot of indecisiveness over here. Take a look at all this. There's so much indecisiveness over here. All right, but it does look like it's moving up on some low volume, so I will at least admit that right there. It is moving up on some low volume, so there's that at least. So FLYE moving up on very low volume right there. FLYE moving up on very low volume. There we go. There we go. Let's take a look at the float. Float for this 791,000. Volume is 97,000. So we got that going on right there. But yeah. Volume went up a little bit for it. Now it's 120,000. But other than that, it still has a heavier float than it does volume. And the float isn't that bad. It's actually, you know, okay. So we got that going on right there. That's what we got going on right there. It's a little low, but it is what it is. All right, so FLYE up 27%. Needs to really break higher than that. Needs to break a bit higher than that for it to be so much maxi to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. So let's see what else we got. What else we got? All right. All right. All right. All right. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. There we go. Okay. There we go. Let's see about another stock here. Somebody requested SATL. 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 Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 500. 500, ladies and gentlemen. 500, 500, 500. All right. Let's take a look over here. Let's get this over here. Boom. Right there. A little bit of choppiness over here. All right. A little bit of chop, chop, chop. So, All right. We'll see what goes on, though. SATL. SATL currently moving its way on up slightly. Moving its way on up slightly. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. So moving up slightly. All right. And as of now, it is just above the VWAPA. Just above the VWAPA. And moving up slightly right now. But other than that, it's not really a major uptrend. It's only up 4%. So, we'll see what happens with it. SATL slight uptrend on low volume. So, SATL slight uptrend on low volume. Not looking too schmexy as of now. Not looking too schmexy. So, we'll see what happens there. We shall see. We shall see. UXRP, UXRP. I'm back. All right, so UXRP, low volume. I can tell just by looking at it over here. Low volume. All right. So as of now, has a bit of movement going up over here. Again, just above the VWAPA. Just above the VWAPA. But as of now, it is a very, very, very... it's moving up a little bit, but it's very, very light on volume. It's up 40%, though. I will give it that. UXRP up 40%, moving up on light volume. Up 40%, moving up slightly on low volume. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. All right, all right, all right. Okay. So let's see what else we got. What else we got? Let me add them. Let me add them. All right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get the 500. 500. All right. So INTC. INTC. All right. INTC. Man. Bit pricey. $49.49. Up 2%. And currently, as of now, does have some movement going on here. Had a bit of an A to B, B to C, C to D over here. All right. And then after that, had another bit of like A to B, B to C, C to D over here. And then pretty much just went and became somewhat of a pennant, really, if that's pretty much it right there, though. It became more of a pennant than anything else. So as of now, INTC needs to break above that pennant, for it to be so much maxi to mia. INTC needs to break above the pennant. So there we go. There we have it. All right. So INTC has that going on right there. They got that going on. Let's see here. So as of now, what other stonks are there? What other stonks are there? All right, there we go. So we got that going on right there. Needs to break above this pennant for it to be so much maxi to mia, but it looks like it's pulling back a little bit. So INTC as of now, not looking too schmexy as of now. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens.
Somebody asked about URXP.
URXP?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Let me take a look at URXP. URXP. Are you sure it's URXP?
Maybe I got it wrong. Hold on.
UXRP. Let's take a look. UXRP as of now is moving up lightly moving upwards lightly right now. Currently on a bit of an uptrend right here. Needs to still remain friends with that trend right now. This is ProShares Ultra XRP ETF. They're up 38% right now, but it looks like it's falling below the trend line over here, below the trend line. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at this little area over here. All right, so as of now, UXRP needs to break the descending wedge. Right here for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. UXRP needs to break the descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. We shall see what happens there. We shall see what happens. All right, let's take a look at CCHH in the meantime. See how that's doing. How's CCHH holding up? CCHH actually curled above the pennant. That's excellent. That's excellent news right there. Take a look. Boom, right there. Formed a bit of a double top right over here at the 69-cent line. But other than that, it's been doing pretty well. All right, so CCHH needs to break the double top and remain friends with the trend. Boom. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. So that's what we got going on right there. FLYE. Still on that uptrend right there. Still on that uptrend and climbing. Broke above the VWAP. FLYE broke above the VWAP. Broke the VWAP. Currently climbing. So we'll see what goes on there. We shall see what goes on there, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let's see here. WHLR. WHLR. Let's see how that's doing. WHLR looks like more of a downtrend now than anything. So now WHLR has to break the downtrend, has to break the VWAP. So WHLR, as of now, has to break the downtrend and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go, there we go, there we go. All right, let's see what else we got. What else we got? WHLR needs to break that downtrend, needs to curl up there and break that VWAP as well for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. But not looking too schmexy as of now. Not looking too schmexy. All right, SMTK. This was a request. Let's take a look over here. All right. SMTK. Let's take a look over here. SMTK, as of now, needs to break this pennant right over that has some indecisive wicks before. SMTK, as of now, needs to break the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to All right. And also needs to break that VWAP too. So SMTK needs to break the VWAP and needs to break the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to SMTK needs to break above the pennant and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to That's what we got going on. That's what we got going on. All right, let's see what else we got. FLYE, FLYE. Still on that uptrend and still climbing up nicely. FLYE still climbing up nicely, up 44%. FLYE up 44% and still climbing up nicely. There we go. There we go. All right. So, as of now, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Somebody requested SLS. SLS. Let's see how SLS is doing. SLS, a lot of indecisive wicks over here. A lot of indecisive wicks over here. You got this one right here. These ones right here. All right. So you got some indecisiveness there. Let's get the float. Float is 169.2 million, which is heavy, heavy, heavy. Volume is 334.5 thousand. So we got that going on right there. So very, 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 very heavy float, light volume. No. No. SLS does need to break this little bit of a pennant. Hold on, stand by. Right over here. SLS needs to break above the VWAP and needs to break that pennant. So we got that going on right there. SLS needs to break above the VWAP and the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to All right. All right. All right. So let's see here. SLS currently needs to break above that pennant, needs to break above that VWAP as well for it to be so much maxi to Mya. Alex Martinez is LIMN trying climbing held onto my extra shares instead of taking profit yesterday. It's starting to pump. All right, Alex, let's see what goes on here. So right now it has a bit of a price spike going on. Nice. Looks like it's pulling back a little bit, but it does have a nice price spike going on here. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'll give you some. I'll give him some. Give me a second. Got a little bit of ABCD here, a little ABCD there, and then a little bit of a pennant as well there. So we got that going on as well. That is what we got going on. LIMN needs to break the pennant after that nice price spike. All right, there we go. All right, let's get some support and resistance lines for the stonk right here. Let's get some support and resistance lines. Bop right there. Let me get this out of my way. Ha! I remember that. The coach version of freaking Stewie. Jesus. All right, let's get support resistance lines over here. Good Lord, help. All right, let's see here. Got support all the way back here and resistance all the way up here. So as of now, you got support at 223. Needs to break 251 for it to be so much maxi to me. So LIMN needs to break the double top and break above 251 for it to be so much maxi to me. LIMN needs to break above the high of day for it to be so much maxi to Mya. There we go. All right, so LIMN needs to break above the high of day. So yeesh. All right, let's see here. Let's see about other stonks here. As of now, let's see here. Not a lot going on with LIMN right now. Needs to break that double top and needs to climb above 251. So let's see what else we got. Let me add them. Let's see how CCHH is holding up. CCHH, as of now, CCHH is below the VWAP. No, it's not below the VWAP, excuse me. It's above the pennant, but just below that little uptrend right there. Needs to break the double top still. So CCHH still needs to break that double top. CCHH still needs to break the double top. All right. All right. So as of now, let's see what else we got here. Looks like CCHH is trying to curl up a little bit again. Looks like it's trying to curl up slightly. All right. So as of now, CCHH is still curling above the pennant, but needs to break the VWAP. CCHH still curling above the VWAP. It should be the pennant. Still needs to break the double top resistance line. All right, so as of now, let's see what other stocks we have today. Let's see. Let's see about SMTK. SMTK. Hold on one second. SMTK. All right, SMTK still needs to break that pennant, still needs to break that VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. There we go, there we go. SMTK, SMTK still needs to break the VWAPA and the pennant. All right, it looks like we got our boy over here, our boy Stewie. You remember Stewie? Yes. Oh, hold on. Here we go. There's Stewie having the time of his life right there. He's sliding down the little slip and slide right there. Can it curl though? Can it curl? All right, so we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right, let's see what other stocks we have today. All right, somebody requested JTAI. 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 So, as of now, JTAI formed a bit of an awkward cup. As of now, it looked like it was going to form a cup and handle, but has since formed a bit more of a descending wedge right over here. All right. So, JTAI needs to break the descending wedge, needs to break the descending wedge. JTAI. JTAI needs to break the descending wedge right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see how it goes over there. We shall see how it goes. Meantime, let's draw our boy. All right. He is slip sliding down the little descending wedge over here. Can it curl up for him? Can it curl up for Stewie? Can it curl up for him? No. All right. So can we see what's going on there? Let's see what's going on. GLGG, GLGG. Let's see. Ooh, choppy, not looking schmexy at all. Not a lot of schmexiness at all here. GLGG. Very choppy with low volume. So you got that going on right there. All right. So as of now, GLGG is currently very choppy with some low volume. Needs a lot of volume, ladies and gentlemen. Needs a lot of volume. All right. As of now, GLGG, not very schmexy, not very schmexy. Let's take a look at WHLR. WHLR still needs to break that downtrend. WHLR still needs to break the downtrend. All right. So now that that's done, let's see what else we got. What else we got? Let me at him. Let me at him. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's take a look at. All right. And of course, hold on before we do that. There's Stewie. Poor guy seems to be falling. He's like, no! He's falling. Don't worry, he's got a parachute. Little parachute there for him. There you go. He's got like a little parachute. He's skydiving. He's skydiving off the downtrend on WHLR. There we go. Let's see what else we got. What else we got over here? All right. Let's see here. What about SATL? Somebody requested SATL. SATL. Meh. Not looking too schmexy there. Not looking too schmexy. SATL still on that choppy uptrend though. SATL still on a choppy uptrend. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? All right. ATXG. All right, ATXG looks like it's shooting its way on up right now. Looks like it's shooting its way on up right here. So let's see what goes on. Let's see what goes on with this stock. Currently a bit of a price spike, a little bit of a price spike going on right there. Boom, right there. Not looking too schmexy there. All right. All right. So ATXG price spike on ATXG. ATXG price spike. Got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1200. 1200. Let's get to 1200 right there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it. 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 All right. So, yeesh. All right. So let's see here. Let's see. What other stocks we got here? INTC. Let's see how INTC is holding up. INTC looks like it's forming more of a pennant now than it is a actual. Yeah, still forming a pennant. Needs to break this pennant. INTC needs to break the pennant right here. Needs to break the pennant. INTC needs to break the pennant for it to be so much maxi to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. So let's see what we got going on here. Bop right there. All right. So there we go. As of now, INTC is currently just needs to break above that pennant right there. Needs to break above that pennant right there for it to be so much maxi to mya. There we go. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. CCHH. Forming another pennant. Forming another pennant right here. If you look closely, take a look over here. Bop right there. Bop right there. All right. CCHH needs to break that pennant. Needs to break above that pennant right there. CCHH needs to break above the second pennant for it to be so much maxi to mya. There we go. There we go. All right, let's see what else we got. ATXG. Let's see how it's doing. Still on the uptrend. Nice, up 50%. ATXG up 50% and climbing. ATXG up 50% and climbing. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And of course, you know, got our boy over here. He's climbing up them steps. He's climbing up them steps. Look, see? He's climbing up them steps. Look at him. There he go. He's whistling too. He's whistling too. There, look. Little whistle. Whistle. There you go. He's whistling. Yay! Actually, you know what? He's a little whistling thingy. He's just walking up the steps. He's walking up the steps, ladies and gentlemen. That's good. ATXG can it continue to curl? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at FLYE. FLYE. Let's take a look over here. Let's get a share party going. Let's get the 1300. 1300. All right, let's get a look over here. Needs to break my pennant over here. And yeah, pretty much needs to break the pennant now. FLYE needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA for it to be so much mexi to mya. FLYE needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA. There we go. There we go. All right. XXRP. XXRP, again, looks like it formed a slight inverted cup and handle over here. Maybe. Because now it looks like it's curling a bit downward slightly. So it might have a possible inverted cup and handle. We'll see what happens, though. XXRP, possible inverted cup and handle. There we go. There we go. All right. We just got about 6 minutes till the bell. The bell. It deafens me. Yes, we have about 6 minutes till the bell. 6 minutes to the bell, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what goes down. We shall see what goes down. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to check out right there. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. There we go. All right, CCHH. Let's see how CCHH is holding up. Looks like it is pulling down a bit more. Let's see. All right. Looks like CCHH is still holding a bit of a descending wedge there. Needs to break above that pennant. That descending wedge there. CCHH. Slight descending wedge. Can it curl? Let's see. We shall see if it can curl, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's take a look over here at FLYE. FLYE. How's FLYE doing? Still needs to break that pennant right there. FLYE. Still needs to break the pennant. Yeesh. So, let's see what we got there. TIRX is moving a little bit. TIRX price spike right here. 74 million float, 11 million volume. So price spike on low volume. TIRX, price spike on low volume, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There we go. I like this price spike, though. It looks schmexy. TIRX, price spike on low volume. All right. All right. So as of now, TIRX uptrend. Nice little price spike. We shall see what goes on there. We shall see what goes on there. Right now, though, let's take a look over here. You got a little umbrella and a little. He's got a little hat. Ah. There we go. See? Look at our boy Stewie. Look at him climbing up there. He's climbing up there. Not like what coaches Stewie was doing. Coaches Stewie was doing some other stuff. Yeah. We don't talk about that. All right. Anyways, look at Stewie. He's got his hiking equipment. He's got his little grappling hook. I mean, he's climbing his way on up with TIRX right now. There we go. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. All right. All right. All right. So, let's see about CCHH. CCHH. All right. Not looking too schmexy there. Still same deal. Indecisive wick. All right. So we got that going on right there. Hold on. There we go. All right. There we are. There we go. There he is running down the little hill right there. He's running down the little descending wedge right there. Not looking too schmexy right now. CCHH needs to break that descending wedge right there. TIRX, okay, FLYE, XXXP, RDIG, RDIB, GLGG. Let's see what else we got. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners. Be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen, for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah. Oh, the bell. It deafens me. The bell made the ringy dingy. It made the wee woo. Yes, sir. The bell. Look at the bell. It's the bell. Wee. There's the bell. Ring. It's the bell. It is the bell. And then, there you go. Bell. Boom. The bell. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay. So. All right. Let's see what other stocks we got here. All right. Let's see about WHLR. WHLR, excuse me. WHLR. Oh my, this is the one that he was doing the little skydiving. All right. Looks like it's curling its way back up, though, a little bit. Curling its way back up off that little downtrend. WHLR curling up off the downtrend. We'll see what happens there. WHLR curling off the downtrend right there. So it's curling. Needs to break the VWAP. Needs to break that VWAP, ladies and gentlemen. needs to break the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. Of course, as always, there's our boy Stewie. There's our boy. He's climbing them steps. He's climbing them steps. There we go. All right. There we are. Beautiful. All right. Alex Martinez says TIRX looking good. TIRX looking good. All right. Let's see how TIRX is holding. Hey, I told you, Stewie got his little mountain cap on there. He got his little harness. He's climbing. Look at him. All right. So as of now, TIRX still on the uptrend, up 60%. Nice. Let's see how that's going right there.
Let's go, baby.
TIRX, let's go.
Let's go.
There we go. TIRX moving on up, climbing up 60%. Boom. There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go, baby.
Yeesh. All right. Let's make it like a new line over here. Bop right there. Bop right there. All right. There we go. Zoom in the room. All right. Let's see there. All right. Yeesh. All right, he's got his little hat there. As you can see, he's got his little backpack. He's still climbing. Look at our boy. There's our boy. He's still climbing. He's still climbing it, ladies and gentlemen. TIRX up 60%. Ran up nicely. He's still climbing. CCHH. Now it's just a downtrend. Let's take a look over here. Needs to break this downtrend for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. Let's see here. All right. So that's what we got going on over here. All right. Oh, no. There's Stewie. Poor Stewart. Poor Stewie boy. He is now currently falling. No. Oh, I'll give him a parachute. But yes. Okay, that does not look good. There we go. He is falling. He's falling. CCHH pulling downward. Needs to break that downtrend. CCHH needs to break above the downtrend for it to be so much schmexy to mya. There we go. All right. CCHH. Let's take a look at UXRP. UXRP. There we go. Currently curling on up above that descending wedge right there. UXRP curling up above the descending wedge. There we go. UXRP curling above the above the descending wedge right there. There we go. It's curling on up right now. Moving on up. It's on an uptrend now. Beautiful. All right. There we go. All right. XXRP as of now looks like it curled upward instead of going down. It had a bit of a cup and handle there, an inverted cup and handle. So looks like it went up instead of down, which is odd, but yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I'll take it. There we go. All right, so XXRP curling up. XXRP curling upwards. As of now, curling upwards. There we go. There we go. All right, let's see about TIRX. TIRX, how's TIRX doing? TIRX still climbing slightly, still on that slight climb. TIRX making a slightly choppy climb upwards. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. XRPT. XRPT. All right. There we go. Curling its way on up right now. Moving its way on up. XRPT curling upwards. Curling upwards there. XRPT curling upwards. There we go. Beautiful. All right. All right. Alex Martinez says LIMN pushing for pre-market high. Let's see how it's doing. LIMN. All right. It looks like it's moving its way on up and trying to test that high a day. We'll see what goes on. We'll see what goes on. All right. LIMN, ABCD pattern. Looks like it's moving its way on up to test the high a day. LIMN, ABCD pattern. Looks like it is moving up to test the high of day. There we go. There we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let's see here. So, as of now, LIMN, ABCD pattern going on over there. It's got an ABCD pattern. So, we'll see what goes on there. Let's see about FLYE. FLYE. Curling, slightly curling. Broke above the VWAP, though. FLYE broke above the VWAP and is curling a little bit. Slight curl moving above the VWAP. Broke that area right there. Broke that area. So, yes, there we go. There we go. All right. Let's see what else we got. Let's see how CCHH is doing. CCHH still on that downtrend. Needs to break that downtrend. CCHH still needs to break the downtrend. There we go. All right. XXRP. Still climbing off that inverted cup and handle. XXRP. Still climbing. There we go. CCHH. We did that one already. FLYE. Did that one already, I'm pretty sure. Yes, we did. All right. All right. Let's see here. APLD. 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 Let's see how it's going. APLD double top right there. Not looking too schmexy on that one. APLD needs to break that double top. APLD needs to break that double top right there. APLD needs to break the double top. There we go. Alex says, I love how I sold my last 100 shares on BOXL this morning at 202, and 10 minutes later it goes up to 238. Yeah, it happens. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. There's plenty of other options out. There's plenty of other opportunities out there. Don't worry too much about it. It's not one of those things that, we really, it's not one of those things that really should, take up too much space. Because at the end of the day, you know what? If you made a profit, that's good enough. There's no real big deal. You don't have to, go crazy with it. As long as you made a profit, or if you had a loss, you cut it as fast as humanly possible. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? Don't, FOMO is not healthy. Trading, like going after or chasing a stock after you've already gotten it. It's like chasing a cat, right? In my opinion, it's like chasing a cat, right? So if you chase after the cat's gonna just start running away from you, right? Don't matter if it's your own cat; they don't care, right? But if you're patient, you chill, you wait, right? All of a sudden the cat wants to start coming to you. So as far as I'm concerned, not really useful chasing the stock. If you made a profit on it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. There's more opportunities out there. But yeah, it's one of those things that that's the way I think about it normally. I'm like, oh, I closed this trade at this much percent up, and it ended up shooting up afterwards. It's one of those things. Can't let it get to me. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring, but of course, hold on. Alex Martinez says, appreciate that. I was up slightly, got in at 175, but looked dead, no volume, so I dumped it. Well, you know what? You got in at 175. You got out at 202. You made a profit, right? So, I mean, that's fine. Profit's always good, man. The profit's always good. It's better than the loss, right? So the way I think of it is profit is always good, right? And profit is better than a loss, and profit's always better than the slight loss, and the slight loss is better than a full-blown loss. So you know what I mean? So, hey, there you go. That's the way I see it. But yeah, APLD now climbing its way on up right there. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel at Coach Nick Money, at Coach Nick Money. You can find us on our X.com, where we do lots of live streaming, stock reviews, and stock analysis at Coach Nick Money. You can find us on our Twitch, where we do lots of live streams at Coaching Money. You can find us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on our TikTok, Tiki-Taki, a.k.a. the Tac. Yes, so that's what we got going on right there at DBL Nicks on the Tac. All right, but the screen name is Coach Nick Money. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So, yeah, APLD climbing its way on up nicely. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for 1:30 p.m. for our other show, Power Plays, hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he traverses the stock market prior to Power Hour, taking a look at the stock market, and giving his honest opinions and analysis on the stock market before and the tickers themselves before, he continues on into Fortnite and gets to the play portion of the show, continues to score some dubs in Fortnite, and that's pretty much what he's got going on right there. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Much love Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you are indelibles. We call you that because we want you to leave your mark, your unique mark, your one of a kind mark. You are indelible. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, when you get access to our amazing, and I mean amazing, picks, you get access to our amazing 4-day trial. You get access to our amazing picks over here, which shows the ticker, the price, the volume, the float, etc. All right, and then after that, the change in percentage, whether the stock is moving up or down, what time it's been scanned, hyperlinks to each one of these scanners, these little these tickers, so that way you could check them out real quick, all right, and get an honest look at each and every one of them. And also gives you access to the news and the charts for said scanners too. So you got that going on right there. That is what you got going on. All right, you also gain access to our war room, which is filled with amazing, amazing people, all of which love to help each other grow, love to grow themselves, develop themselves in a positive manner, and basically, help each other out. So that's what they like to do there. Be sure to check that out as well. You get access to the newsroom, which is right over here, which gives you a synopsis of each and every single article that is pertaining to the stock market right there. You get access to a hyperlink that shows you the full article. And then, of course, you get access to the tickers that are affiliated with the news within said article. And they also have hyperlinks. So that way you can check out their charts, their news, and everything pertaining to them. So that's pretty cool, right? There you go. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. And ladies and gentlemen, yeah. You also gain access to all that other cool stuff right there. That you get access to the stock ticker tape right there as well, which gives you access to all the stocks that we're keeping an eye on that are making some nice little moves that we are keeping an eye on. You know what I mean? So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. And ladies and gentlemen, if you join the Wealth Builders, you get everything in the real-time alerts and scanners and more. All right? And all you have to do there is just join the Wealth Builders, and basically you get access to an exclusive Wealth Builders chat alongside basically everything in the real. You get access to everything in the real-time alerts and scanners, plus an exclusive Wealth Builders chat, plus exclusive Wealth Builders scanners, plus an exclusive Wealth Builders content like behind-the-scenes footage, scripts, an entire 500-plus video course on how we trade and what works best for us. Not to mention direct line with Coach Nick Money and myself. So be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you guys at 1:30 for Power Plays, hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money. And that's pretty much it for me. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I love you. And I'll see you guys real soon. I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she gets shot out the cannon and she goes, whee! Other times she likes to go to RBs and watch videos of puppies and kitties. And other times, she likes to go into the stock market and, she likes to hang around and, go into a Wendy's maybe sometimes. She likes to go to Mickey D's. Other times she likes to go to Burger King, etc. So that's pretty much it for us. And she did call some wonderful stocks like CCHH, XPRT, and XXRP. We call her Davia Moms. Hey! And that's pretty much it for us. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys.